where people are, gathering every Sunday or Friday or whenever their holy day is, and they're speaking to no one. And in any other context, this would be considered.
Don't do it.
Having a mental illness.
And you did it.
And you fucking did it. All right, I'm going to start because I'm going to bow out incredibly quickly. First of all, you said literally, we tolerate a world where people are gathering and speaking to no one. Yes, that's called freedom. They're free to do that. They're free to exercise their religious liberties. But then you went the step further. And by the way, the note from the call screener says, quote, time for AXP to call out these stupid callers for suffering from mental illness. And on that note, Shannon?
I really believe that we absolutely, objectively, abjectly, and with impunity need to call out people who say the types of things that you just said for various reasons. One is that you, in this call, are assessing yourself, it seems, as superior intellectually and utilizing that position and saying basically that people who have mental illnesses or are neurodiverse are less intellectually than you or have some sort of problem. You're using it as a pejorative. A, that's not the case. And B, that's reprehensible as far as I'm concerned. That it's further stigmatizes mental illness, and it does not need to be stigmatized further than it already is. Secondly, you're just objectively incorrect. From a clinical perspective, if you study the field at all, you are objectively incorrect. It is not a mental illness. You could classify it as some sort of crowd conformity. You could classify it as some sort of indoctrination. There's myriad other ways that you could look at the phenomenon of religiosity. None of them fit whatsoever into the paradigm of what anybody who is worth their salt as a clinician would classify as mental illness. It is the most shallow way to look at this. And it is just ridiculous. It borders on repugnant, really, to be honest with you.
I think it's crossed that line.
You're saying it's akin to saying I am of superior intellect and quality, and people who do not believe the same types of things that I believe are somehow deficient. And you know who else is deficient? People with mental illnesses. So let's just draw some lines, and we just won't even talk to them. We'll shun those people. That is just, why on earth do you feel as though that's a position that is viable and worth holding? Yeah, because that is what you portray when you say these types of things. I'm not saying you explicitly said them, but that is what you portray when you say something like this.
Well, let me ask you, do you believe there's a God?
No. Did I? Yes.
No.
Did I suddenly cure myself of a mental illness the moment I realized I was wrong? Also, no.
So let me ask you this real quick, Mark. Mark, shut up and listen to me. If you ran across someone who is mentally ill and delusional, what's your perspective on that person?
Well, it depends on how it manifests itself.
Should they be mocked?
There are a lot of people who like to have,
should they be mocked or belittled for their mental illness?
Well, certainly not. But when we're having
a discussion, then why are you doing that? Why are you setting up mental illness as a pejorative and then calling the callers stupid and saying that we need to call them out for mental illness when, as Shannon pointed out, and as I pointed out countless times, what they're engaged in is not in any way mental illness. So you are factually wrong, and yet you are using mental illness as a way to disparage someone, even though you're acknowledging that you shouldn't even be disparaging them if they were mentally ill. So you're wrong at every possible turn here.
So you're pretty good with people all over the place that in any other context would be questioned if you spoke to someone.
They wouldn't, though. Okay,
Mark,
I'm going to try to calm this down. Can I calm this down for a second?
Yeah, because I'm going to hang up on him for refusing to acknowledge what we said and instead going on to claiming that we're good with people doing stuff. So
now, when you say, "Are you okay with people?" Yes, of course I am. Why would I not be? Why is it? And that does not in any way relate to the context of this call, which is you saying that people calling in with different beliefs than you are the same as people being mentally ill. Why do you draw that line and think it's okay?
Well, I guess it's because in any other context, if you were speaking to someone that you knew wasn't there, it would be viewed in another way. But there's this carve out for religion.
There's a reason there's a carve out for religion. And would you like to hear what the actual reason is? Okay, when you're talking about people talking to somebody who isn't there, the line that you're drawing, I'm assuming you're drawing, is that you think that they're having some sort of delusion. Now, that's just explicitly not the case. It can be a multitude of other things. One of the things that it could be is conditioning, where people believe that someone's there. They don't believe that they're getting a response, but because they believe in a deity, they think that they're sending a message to someone that is there. That is not a delusion. That is conditioning, possibly indoctrination, and just a byproduct of belief. When people do believe that their own internal monologue could be attributed to God, that is another thing. That's also conditioning. That is not a mental illness, and it is not a delusion. That is just the human condition. The human condition is that we can be compelled to believe in things that aren't true, and in fact are incredibly prone to it, and as a result can engage in behaviors that align with that belief system. That is not, and never has been, and will never be, mental illness. So when people call in or go on the internet or go in front of other people and say that it is, they are uninformed clinically, and they are using it as a pejorative. Like, how would you treat a delusion versus how you would treat a belief in God? Like, what's the pathology?
Our country is based. These people go out and vote to take away women's rights, to take away, voter.
I agree with that, but that's not because. So you're saying that people who are mentally ill don't vote the way that they should? So that's a byproduct of mental illness, is what you're saying, right? So people who are mentally ill aren't capable of doing that. Like, what line are you drawing here?
Well,
why do you need to classify them as mentally ill? That's different. For Christians vote that way because they're indoctrinated and they're conforming to their group. They're tribal, like most of us are. That's another part of human nature. And they believe that they are right, and they are reinforced by the society at large around them and their in-group. So they act accordingly. That is just what you would expect to see psychologically, given the circumstances that they were in. Calling them mentally ill doesn't change anything about that.
Vinny, if I did, then
can you prove that their God is not real?
I believe that I can.
I don't give a fuck what you believe. I said, can you prove that their God is not real?
Yes.
Okay, do it.
Every definition.
No. Here, we're going. Put a minute on the clock. I got my fucking Jesus hat on. You got a minute on the clock to prove that the Christian God that I believed in is not real, because my position is that God is not falsifiable, which means you couldn't possibly do this. Go.
Possibly. I'm just having an exchange with you.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're shitting on the mentally ill, and you're shitting on representations of the mentally ill, and then you are shitting on religious people, and your model only makes sense if, in fact, you are right that their God does not exist. If you can't prove it, shut the fuck up about it, because you're wrong about mental illness. You're wrong about the falsifiability of their God. Why can't you stop being wrong?
Mark, I just want you to stop doing it, please. Like, it's just, I'm trying. Like, to Matt's point, like, you can't prove it. People are going to believe in things that we really ardently believe are incorrect, right? That's why we do what we do. Maybe this is what we do is probably a little bit more productive than what you're doing right now, which is saying that dialogue should stop because you believe these people to be mentally ill. I get fired up about stuff like this because I think that being a mental health advocate is significantly more needed. So perhaps my tone could be a little bit better, but I really would really ardently like you to reevaluate your position on this and stop doing it. It's not correct. It's not good. It's not beneficial. And I don't even believe that it's a step towards what your stated goals were, which is stopping people from voting against things like women's rights. Because just calling people mentally ill and then disengaging is not going to change anybody's mind.
I don't think that I was belligerent, but I think I was met with belligerence.
Cry me a fucking river. You shit on mental health issues, you shit on mental illness, you shit on religious people, and accuse them of something, that is not true and that you can't prove. I'm sorry that you were met with belligerence. Some of us were religious. We didn't recover from a mental illness. Some of us have friends and family who are religious. They're not suffering from mental illness. Shannon tried desperately and thoroughly to explain to you how you are just factually wrong about mental illness, but you won't hear it. And I asked you if you could disprove their God, which is a requirement for you to conclude that they are in fact delusional, and you couldn't do that either. So I'm sorry that you feel that you were met with belligerence. Maybe if you hadn't started with an attack on the mentally ill, you might not have been.
I was mistreated. And I just, you could have told me I was wrong in much different ways.
Go fuck yourself.
So you're focusing on the tone in which you received the message. And I hear that. I absolutely hear that. I understand you're focusing on the tone in which you hear the message, but the reason that there was tone when you heard that message is because that message that you were attempting to send is intensely impactful to people in real life if we continue to propagate stigmas, and that's important to quash whenever we hear it. And that's what you were attempting to deliver to us. So we wanted to stop it in its tracks. So that's the reason that you were met with that type of tone. Okay?
Hey everyone, welcome to Bad Science Sunday, where we take a comedic approach to debunking science misinformation on the internet. And I am just fucking tired of saying what Matt and Shannon, that was a 17-minute video that, if you want to go find it on the internet, you can. But I also put videos. I think Matt has a 20-minute video. Shannon has a 30-minute video, better explaining their stance on it. I think it's those, and I did put those in the chat, and I think those are better resources if you're looking for a more comprehensive stance on why religion is not a mental illness. And also, we debunk science misinformation on Bad Science Sunday. And you don't get a pass because you're in my in group. I am a staunch advocate for marginalized groups. That includes the mentally ill. I don't know if you've heard me say this once or twice, but I've been in the mental health industry for about 15 years now, advocating for a number of different groups, most recently the elderly for the past 6 years. But not only that, I'm tired of saying it. And I know that I'm, every time somebody's like, oh, well, you're an atheist. I'm like, no, not going there. And so I don't want you to think that I'm like holding water for the religious. That it just isn't a theist, non-theist stance. What mental illness is in the DSM-5. Like that's like the doctor Bible. Everything in there is founded on peer review research. So and not to beat a dead horse any more than this, because I do want to have some fun tonight. But I'm so fucking tired of doing this. You guys sound like anti-vaxxers when you try to conflate religion with mental illness. Stop it. Read a goddamn book. But today we're going to have some fun. I am really excited. First time on the show, we have with us Maren from Misinterpretations.
Hello. How's it going? Am I supposed to do my spiel? Oh,
sorry. I can't talk while the hands are clapping because it sounds like I'm underwater, so I have to wait for all of that to pass.
Understood.
But you can talk and you can tell us all who you are, where to find you, what's the elevator pitch.
Okay. Hey, I'm Misinterpretations, or Maren Dameron, and I have a pretty new channel where I talk about the brain and the Bible and sciencey stuff and actually theological stuff, because those are the things that I like and that I have learned about in my life. So this past week, I did a live with Dr. Kip Davis, and we talked about Job. So that was really awesome. So anyway, so I'm trying to do
a couple of streams with Dr. Kip.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah. He wrote a book.
Actually, I don't think that happened.
Kip Davis has written no books. This is the book, but the thing is, if you open it up, it very clearly states.
Not a book.
Not a book.
Yeah. Apparently, according to some bigots, a book is not what we think they are. He certainly doesn't have 5 others.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean,
that's the only way that would make sense.
They probably all
a book is not a book.
And if he did, they probably all say not a book in them too, just like Vandy's. So yeah. So I actually started with some videos comparing Greco-Roman romances to the New Testament, because there's a lot of themes that are similar there. And the one with Leucippe and Cleitophon, well, it's actually a 2-parter, and people haven't really found that one yet. So if you want to go see something, because that one is actually my favorite romance, and it's really fun. It's really wild. It's a wild ride. So anyway,
and you're actually really impressive. I didn't know you had like 5 degrees.
I only have 4.
Only 4.
So only 4. Kelly. So we're gonna go.
Why am I in science today?
Yeah. Depending on who you talk to, we may or may not be getting into physics tonight. So we should, like to tell people how you are qualified to talk about physics.
Okay. Well, I have a Bachelor of Physics from Wake Forest, and I taught physics in high school and taught other sciences in high school as well. So yeah, so I know a little bit about it, but when I read Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time, by the time I got to chapter 3, he had covered everything in my undergraduate film. So I was like, I don't know any of this stuff he's talking about, and that's a layperson's book. So anyway,
It's,
really, yeah,
it's supposed
I didn't
to be.
read that. I read A Universe from Nothing. And Neil deGrasse Tyson wrote a book a few years back. I can't remember the name of it, but I read that too. But yeah, I when I was just trying to figure out what the hell was going on, because I mean, it's not just psychology. People twist probably every genre of science, and if you're just going to listen, like try to determine what's going on in the actual field versus what's slipped out locally, colloquially, cannot talk right now. Colloquially, yeah. It's going to be a non-starter. So I was great. Let me go to the horse's mouth. What are the people who work in the field saying? And so now I have Andy for that, which is nice.
It's so awesome. That's all right. Unless it's astrophysics.
Yeah, I'm not an astrophysicist. You're more of an astrophysicist than I am.
While Vandy is not an astrophysicist, he can answer a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Didn't we do like an hour and a half stream with you and Daryl Frost on like astrophysics or something?
Oh, it was more than an hour and a half, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it was about cosmology and the Big Bang.
Right. I'm sorry, cosmology. Please forgive me. All right. Where are we at? Vandy.
All right. Yeah.
What do we have for everyone today?
The video that we're covering today is entitled "They Cracked the Code That Runs the Universe Mind-Blowing," with that's 4 exclamation points. Very important that we count those exclamation points. It's from our friends over at Clarity Channel. What a nothing burger name. They have over 500,000 subscribers, and this video, which is starring Billy Carson, has
well, we haven't done Billy in a while.
Yeah,
I was actively avoiding Billy because Dapper covered him for a while, and I didn't want it to be like overkill.
Yeah,
but that's no longer happening.
Yeah, I feel like either I just glitched out or Maya.
No, Maya's frozen.
Wonderful. Wow, this is we're professional streamers here.
Oopsie.
Fantastic.
Oh no, she died. Oh no. Maybe she'll resurrect. Maybe she'll resurrect. Oh no.
But we're gonna have Billy Carson talk to us about physics and whatnot, and he's definitely. Yes, now you're back.
Still frozen.
You're still frozen.
That's great. All right. Well, we're gonna march forward.
Boom. All right. You want me to just start right at the beginning? Because I did watch this.
So I am not a physicist. So have not studied physics, and so we're gonna start where you see fit, and I'm gonna let you two geek out for a while.
You mean cry?
Billy Carson is about to unveil the thousands-of-year-old secret.
Is that too fast? What do I only have it on 1.25. That should be okay.
That should be fine.
Secret of our existence, one that mankind has been trying to decipher for millennia. This is not just surprising, but transformative as well. So sit tight and let's dive in.
We're living in a multi-dimensional universe.
Oh, I did not know that. What does that mean?
We are right. It's one of those. It's actually a fairly mundane statement.
Like a 3D universe, because I don't think that's what he means.
No, it's not what he means. It's probably what he should mean. But yeah, we live in a universe with 3 spatial dimensions and 1 time dimension.
Yeah.
At least.
Is that the only thing we're going to agree on with him?
Yeah.
I don't know that he agrees to that.
No.
Yeah. Probably. But
There's at least 11 dimensions.
yeah, see that he's stating as fact something which makes
11.
sense in a particular context.
See, you gotta. This is why I'm here, because you were like, yeah, it's obvious that we're in, a bunch of or multiple dimensions, and I was like, yeah.
Well, not 11.
Is it obvious that we're in 11?
No, it's not obvious that we're in 11. Where he's getting that is he is getting that from string theory and M theory. Those are unproven hypothetical models of physics that go beyond the standard model of physics, and you do, depending on exactly which sort of version of them, you need 10 or 11 dimensions to make the math work. And there are a lot of attractive things about these models, but they are not, and they may be right, but they are not, they have not been demonstrated to be right. We have no experimental evidence in favor of any particular version of string theory.
Theoretical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they have math, and I do appreciate Billy's call to actual math here.
What, by saying the number 11? Is that the math?
It's we bend over backwards sometimes to
are these? But there's the other kind of dimensions, right? There's the woo dimensions, right?
That's what he really means.
Existence. Is that what he's talking about, or is he talking about the string theory stuff?
Yes and no.
I think he's trying to talk about string theory.
He's trying to. No, I mean, getting 11 dimensions, I'd be shocked if that wasn't a call to string theory. But he's using that to justify, the woo dimensions.
Okay.
Yes.
Otherwise, the universe would collapse. Each dimension is a 90-degree angle right above the next one, compactified. So they're sitting right on top of us.
Compactified? Is that a word?
Yeah, and what he read this from somewhere, or is stealing this language from somewhere where it's legitimate. The way you argue, the way that in string theory you argue that we have these extra spatial dimensions is that they are
compactification. I see it.
They are compactified. They're squished up in a way, and I have no way of explaining this intuitively. I just don't really.
Is it one of those things where you have to see the math?
Yeah, and frankly, I don't even understand the math all that well.
Fair. No, I can understand that.
The idea is basically that you only sort of see these extra degrees of freedom. Because what a dimension is, spatial dimensions and the time dimension, what they are is it's a measure of how many coordinates you need to specify a thing.
Okay.
So you need, in the reality that we live in, you need 3 numbers to specify where something is, and then you need 1 number to specify when it is.
Okay, gotcha.
And you can imagine that it's much easier to imagine fewer dimensions. If space was 2-dimensional, then everything would you could specify everything with just 2 numbers. So an ant that's stuck living on the surface of a piece of paper or something, sort of, it's like they're living in 2 dimensions. But I mean, obviously they're not. It's 3, and that's why it's very hard to explain this intuitively, because you kind of have to. If you've read the book, is it Flat World?
Flatlands. Flatlands.
Yeah. Which is also a commentary on Victorian culture or something, weirdly.
Political commentary.
But it actually makes this point pretty well, and he's going to mention later that for us, if we're looking down on that piece of paper, we sort of get a view, because we are in this 3rd dimension, that is different. And he's going to use a lot of this language, which he's getting and means something, and then he's going to schlup it right into the woo.
I mean, it's Billy. I mean, it just wouldn't be a day in life.
And his statement that they're at right angles to each other, again, yes, but...
Is that because, like, if you're looking at the paper and the ant's on the paper, basically the ant is 90 degrees above the paper, right? So that adds that other dimension for that. But we don't know how to add all these extra...
We can't add it. Like, it's hard to, like, okay,
Spatially,
so you have a line and then you have another dimension. So now you have 2 dimensions and you're like on a plane, and then you have another one and now you have 3 dimensions. Where do you put the 4th one? There's nowhere to put it because we live in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't.
But mathematically you can just sort of add another number and be like, okay, well, now you have a sphere in, this many dimensions, and the math is totally like, the math makes perfect sense if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a lot
within
of
less than
here. Like, a lot of people are loving that you're here today. We love that too.
Yeah.
Planck unit of space above you, there's another dimension that actually exists with a whole other universe happening simultaneously while we're sitting right here. And from high...
That, I think, is just bullshit. Like, I don't think that maps onto anything that he's like... just saying that every little Planck space is an entire other universe, that just seems like just completely like he's pulling it out of his ass, I think.
So there's no math on that, is what you're saying?
I'm not aware of any. There are physicists like to write papers and, propose weird models. So there's probably somebody that proposes things like that, but that's not how I don't think that is a mainstream idea.
Higher dimensions, they experience time differently. Time really doesn't exist. The past, present, and the future happen all at once. So somebody, for example, from the 5th dimension would look at us and they'd be able to see us. Imagine us.
Whenever somebody says something like that, that's the woo version of dimension. Like, we are not from the 1st dimension. It's a way of using the word that just isn't how physicists ever use it.
Sorry, I was laughing at the comment. Sorry.
That's great, right?
Yeah, but I mean the time thing, like, happening all at once. So that is, yeah, okay, whatever.
That
I'm going to be going like this.
It's definitely a woo. It's definitely a woo thing. I don't know if it's a science thing.
There are, it's actually a fairly complicated question, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so
because time is timey-wimey, right?
Time is hard to get your mind around. And and a lot of people don't like the concept of, I mean, and I understand that for physicists or anybody that deals with like general relativity, it needs to be part of the process. But like when we think about space, and why people, like, when they talk about extra dimensions, like, time's just not a factor. It's like, well, time's always a factor. Whether you have, like, 1 dimension or 11 dimensions, time's just, there, because you can't have things without a time. If, it's like they like to say online all the time, if something existed for no time, it's not there. So it's just kind of that general concept, like, time. But, like, space, right? And time is just weird to talk about as dimension. When we think about space, we think about length, height, width. What does it mean to go up and down in time, or side to side in time? For somebody who's not dealing with these concepts in a math equation, I don't know. It's a nuisance to factor in, I guess.
Yeah. Time is definitely, you have to handle it differently than you handle space. They get sort of, they're related to each other, and sometimes, like, a time coordinate can kind of leak into a space coordinate when you, like, change reference frames and all this relativity stuff, but they are not, it is not just another dimension of space. You only move one direction through time.
Right, exactly.
There is no sideways because we only have one dimension of it.
Right.
People have played with models where you have like a second dimension, and then there's and I don't need, like, I've sat down and I've tried to like understand what that kind of mean, and I'm not a theoretical physicist. So
No, I get that because again, when people are thinking about, I say all of that to say, when people think about dimensions, like the space, like, it's like the reason we have a hard time with time is because we can't think of it the same way as space. It's my only reason for bringing it up. As a lay person, I do understand the issues with it, even if other people, not Leo, certainly not Leo. I'm sure he knows all about time and other things. Hi, Leo.
Yeah.
But oh God, I can't even remember who. And usually these are videos because I can't. I prefer to read, but physics is hard. And so, like, when people are explaining things, a lot of times I get it a lot better. And he was explaining how, like, if you think of time as like a fourth dimension, it's like, okay, well, if you think about, being in 1D and there's just lines, and then 2D, everything's just, and then you the 3D and well, we all live in that, but time would be that component where you're, so taking it back a step, like if you're in the 2D, there's a component of up that we can see in the 3D, but they can't see in 2D. So, it would make things like a circle or a star look really hard to explain. But again, three-dimensional circles, three-dimensional stars, because even though you can like draw them, to explain the roundness of a circle is going to be hard. And so what they were saying, and I hate that I can't remember who said this, they were like, in the fourth dimension, the time would be that thing where you can see the 3D in movement.
Yeah. You sort of see a 3D, it becomes like a slice of a 4D volume.
Right.
And that's a sensible thing to say.
Yeah, I mean,
it's intrinsically difficult to intuit.
Right, yeah. I wish I knew the name of the video because he explained it obviously way better than I am because I'm not a science communicator. But it was the first time when I thought about the fourth dimension, like time as a dimension, where, if you would think about time as we're just moving through now. So we only ever get a slice of that. Mm. We can't see forward and back. We just know now. And so if you wanted to take it as a dimension, seeing more than one slice of now would be how you would experience the world as in a fourth dimension. But again,
I think I'm getting a little bit of what you're saying, and that time, it's versus the picture versus the movie, right? Where you're actually seeing those changes, and that time is telling you something about position, but it's telling you about position at a particular moment, right?
Yeah,
and how it's different from a different moment, right? So that it's still it's so very interconnected with position. So that does make sense. But
really don't experience movement, I guess, fluidly, like not like, even if you're moving, like I'm still only in the now, right? Even as like my hand, like there's only, my hand's only ever here now. It's here now. It's here now. I can't experience all of that at once now. And so that would be kind of what I don't know what he was explaining. Again, these are theoretical concepts.
But it's the hard part about part of the hard part about physics, right? When you do like throw a ball in the air and you show the graph, right, of distance versus time, and getting my students to see that the shape of the graph is not the ball flying through the air, right?
Right.
Actually just describing, making a description about where it's positioned. So yeah. Anyway, so I love the axe of Paul and Thecla. That's just hysterical. Okay, I'm just saying. If you haven't read it,
yeah, for $5.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're great. Do you want to read it?
Oh yeah, the Behold Network. Hey Lawrence, Marin might like the Acts of Paul and Thecla if she hasn't read it. It is essentially a Greco-Roman romance novel, but Christian. Can't be too hot because God. I don't understand that part. I'm sorry. Is that a joke?
It can't be too steamy because it's a Christian book.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, because the romances are some of them. Woo, law. Like some of them can be, but yeah. Oh, and Thecla is the heroine. I mean, like she's awesome. She's a goddess basically. So yeah, that's pretty funny. So yeah, I get what you're saying. For those who aren't familiar with Flatland, thanks Titan for putting the name of the book in there. Part of it, how it was described to me, is like if you have a chalkboard and you're living in the 2 dimensions in the chalkboard, and a sphere comes into Flatland, right? And the sphere, when it comes, it starts at a point, and then it becomes, and if you're looking out here, it becomes a circle, and then it becomes a smaller circle, and it becomes a point again. But but if you're in that line, actually you see a dot and you see it become a line, right? And then it becomes smaller again as it's moving through. So there's no way to see that dimension there. So actually that was one way I think I described to myself, when Jesus was like walking through walls and just appearing in locked rooms after the resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it explained that was like because he was in all these different dimensions, after being resurrected. So anyway, so that was a little aside.
Yeah, once you get to play with dimensions, you can kind of you can do a lot of things.
Things. Yeah.
But you're never going to like encounter a dude who is just from the 5th dimension. It's not a thing that makes sense.
But Billy says it is.
Well, Billy's wrong.
The 5th dimension is a girl group. I don't know what you're talking about. It's a singing group. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's in this building here, but imagine when I first walked in, and imagine us in here, and imagine me like in the bathroom or something. They'd be able to see us in all the different rooms. The different rooms represent different time frames of existence within this structure. So they can see the past, present, and future at the same time.
So is the idea that when you're in a higher dimension, you can see below lower dimensions, but you can't see dimensions above you?
Exactly.
That's the idea that we're sort of getting at with the Flatland thing, and how it, the dot turns into a circle and things like that.
Unless you have the capability of matching. First, you have to obtain the frequency of a higher dimension and then match that frequency to be able to walk in. So, for example,
the frequency. Go ahead, Weasel.
My hand
go ahead.
is.
It doesn't mean anything in this context, really. He has no idea what he's talking about. And it makes me upset.
Oh, come on. It's
sure?
the woo. It's the woo. Don't you understand? The frequency. You're not on the same wavelength.
What does that mean?
I
know. It's like you need the frequency of the higher dimension. Like what is oscillating? What are we talking about? What frequency of what? Like be specific in any way.
Stop now by this table.
I'm sorry. I was so glad that frequencies is a bingo.
Of course it is. Honestly, it usually is.
Why is it stopped? I'm not really touching the table. There's repulsion going on. Electromagnetic repulsion between the electrons in my hands repelling the electrons in the table.
Okay, that's true. That's like why things are solid. It has nothing to do with what he was just talking about. So like I don't know why he's bringing it up, and he's saying that means that you can't touch things. No, it's just that that's what touching things is. Like when you get when you try and get the atoms to like go through each other, and the atoms are like, and electrons and all the stuff are like, no, we're not going to go through each other. That's what contact is.
You don't really touch anything. Now, if I can match the subatomic frequency of the atoms in this chunk of wood here on this table with my hand, I would be able to pass my hand right through this table unscathed. Why? Because atoms are 99.999% empty space.
I don't like that talking point. It's very misleading.
What do you mean?
Empty space is what you mean.
Oh, okay.
If you consider a hydrogen atom, you've got a proton in the middle, and let's just assume that, let's just think about that as just being a ball. It's not like a little solid ball, but let's just pretend. Okay. And then you've got this electron, and you want to think, okay, the electron is also like a little ball at a particular spot. And then all of the rest of that stuff is like empty space, if you're thinking about it like a little solar system. But it's not. That electron exists as a wave function. It's delocalized over the whole thing. And that wave function tells you properties about, like, if you were to do a measurement that would, collapse it to a particular position, then the wave function tells you where you're most likely to measure it. But the electron is everywhere in that space. The space isn't. It's not really empty space in the way that we sort of think about it. So,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying, to some people, it might sound a little woo, right? Because the electron, but the electron is not in all of the. It's probably in some of those places, probably, right?
Yeah. Well, it's in sort of all of them at the same time, and this is the problem with quantum mechanics: is that it does sound wooish. And sort of knowing the difference between the like parts that are just, physics is weird, and the parts where it's like, yeah, but it's not like weird like that, is hard. And quantum mechanical systems don't behave the way our classical intuition makes us understand the world. So the electron exists at all of those sort of different places.
All of those possible places.
Yeah.
Right. If you're doing the orbital theory. Okay.
Yeah, except for, there are going to be some spots where it's impossible because like the wave function, the value of the wave function there is 0.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But like those are. It's like saying that like it can't be like right at the middle of the atom if it's got some angular momentum. If it doesn't have angular momentum, then actually that's the most likely position for it to be.
Okay. I'm sorry if I'm geeking out. It's just I haven't heard it explained exactly like that before. So, but you are the
I
doing it wrong.
This video so that you two could geek out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And actually, there's something coming up here where Vandy was like, Maya, and I'm like, you know what, just. Go for broke.
Yeah, I think some of it I might have already done because I think it was about I can't remember. I'll probably get to it. But it's when people who say that the atoms are mostly empty space. It's not wrong. I don't like to talk about it that way. But
is Titan correct? Schrodinger's electron.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Okay, so it's superposition.
Yeah,
electron?
The wave function is a superposition of it being in all of these different positions. It also has a direction that it's spinning. So electrons, you can think of them sort of as like spinning a little bit like a tiny top or something like that. And it can be spinning up or down, where up and down are defined relative to some experiment that you're performing on it. But it's not going to be found in any other position. And it can be like in a superposition of both of those possibilities. And that's a superposition in spin space as opposed to in position space.
Gotcha. Okay.
And now I'm talking about different abstract spaces. And I'm worried that the Kool-Aid Man's going to like walk in from the fifth dimension, and yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I think in about 10 years I might start to understand a little bit about quantum. But
it
okay,
took
go
me
ahead.
that long.
Okay.
Space. Nothing is really here.
Oh,
Everything is
actually,
only a light.
did you want to like speak to that? Like why Leo's saying technically the reason solid objects are solid has more to do with spin static. Thank you. The Pauli exclusion principle than it does electrostatic repulsion.
I think that they're two important parts of the same story. So, Pauli exclusion principle is the idea that two identical fermions, cannot be in the same place at the same time doing like the same thing. Other particles can do that, but fermions, which have a half-integer amount of how much they're spinning when expressed in units of Planck's constant, they cannot be. And if you try and push them together, they will just like refuse to get any closer. That's what keeps white dwarfs from collapsing more until you like dial it up to 11 and then they fuse into neutron stars and stuff like that. It's definitely part of the story. The reason atoms work the way they do is a lot to do with the fact that the electrons don't all collapse and do the same thing is because of exactly that reason. The reason two different atoms don't just phase through each other is because the way that the electrons interact, but and that is an electromagnetic thing. So they're both playing parts of that story. But if they were able to all be in the same place at the same time, you would still have repulsion that would happen from electromagnetic effects. So yeah, it's an important point that Leo raised.
Okay, thank you.
Light wave slowed down to a particular frequency. And so if you can match frequencies, you can merge with things. You can walk through walls, all that kind of stuff. The things that are seen paranormal could be advanced beings have tapped into some type of understanding of how to match different frequencies in our dimension.
I called it.
Oh God.
Vandy, are ghosts just higher dimensional beings with
the right frequency?
The right frequencies. Exactly.
The worst part of this is that there is a steel manimal version of what he is saying. There really is.
There's a what version?
A steel manimal.
Oh, Vandy's gonna steel man. He's gonna co-sign Billy.
All right, you got to get the whiteboard out because we're going to talk about scattering processes off of.
I thought you were going to talk about magnetic resonance, but you're an anti-magnetologist.
That would be another sort of concept that would be related. Yeah, I just randomly use clothes to clean my whiteboard. I could not be more of a bachelor, people.
As long as they're not my clothes.
So, if we have so we've got some so I'm going to draw a graph, and the x-axis is going to be position, and the y-axis is going to be like energy, and we have this well here. Okay, so if a particle is chilling up here and then it falls in, then the amount of energy would get like turned into velocity, and it would like bounce back and forth. The thing is, in quantum mechanics, if you have this well here, and you can have a bound state. So you could have a particle that would exist here, and it would exist with particular like probability distributions in there. And this wave function is a solution to the Schrodinger equation like that, which I'm not going to write the Schrodinger equation. And it has some energy. And that energy can be associated with a frequency. And if you have a bunch of other particles that you're trying to like send past this thing, if they have exactly the right energy, then they will be able to go through this thing easily. But if they have just the wrong amount, they might bounce off of it. And so
What is the well? What's the well?
The well, for example, would be like it might be a proton. If you just have a proton chilling in space, and then you had an electron that you shoot towards it, in that case, the well would sort of be shaped like this, and the electron would be like, woo, chilling. And atoms have particular bound states. And if the energy happens to be resonant with the energy like difference between various states, then you can get things that seem solid suddenly will seem transparent, and it'll just go through it. But it is a very precise, what we're talking about is graduate level scattering of quantum mechanical particles. It's not.
It can't be your whole body.
No, it cannot be your whole body. If your whole body is behaving quantum mechanically, like in a way where like the quantum mechanics is the most useful way to describe it, then that's a problem, because you don't want to be described mostly by physics. You want to be described by like biology. If you stop being biology and you start being physics, you're having a very bad day. Now, I am aware. Yes, we are talking about tunneling effects and resonant tunneling effects, Leo. I'm aware that what I just said was very confusing. It's a little bit any analogy that I can think of like on the spot to try and clarify it and like potentially adds more confusing things. But it's mufflers kind of work this way actually. When you send sound into a muffler, it bounces back and forth and it interferes with itself, and sound doesn't come out the other side. So things seem quieter. That is a similar sort of effect, and it's a frequency effect. You need to have a frequency. In that case, it is the frequency of the sound waves. In this case, it is how you express the momentum of a particle as a plane wave quantum mechanically, and that has a particular wavelength in its wave function, and that's where you get the frequency from. And Planck's constant is related to it. But the idea that if you get a wave that is trying to pass through something and it bounces around, it can reinforce itself in a way that it is very likely to go through, or it is very likely to be reflected. A muffler reflects it. Yeah. A laser, it'll go through. So there is a version of what he's saying where if you get the right frequency, you can sort of like go through stuff. That is true when you think about it on the single particle level of quantum mechanics. It is not true for being able to like walk through walls at like the Terminator.
Right. Or you can't be beamed up, Scotty.
Mention right. And appear apparitional or paranormal, but in true reality, they could just be taking a peek in.
And how do we come to the understanding that these higher dimensions exist? Like, what is the most basic evidence that we have of this?
Quantum physics proves it. See, when we look into the quantum world, everything changed. In standard,
that's true.
You just proved it. Come on.
Everything does change. Yeah.
Physics is where we are right now, on the large side of physics. But the smaller you go, the more weird things get. We find that particles transphase in and out of existence.
Transphase, is that a word?
I'm trying to figure out what that means.
I think he just wanted to say phase, and then he said trans and just like rolled with it, which is fine. Like,
just change phase is. is all I can think of.
Maybe he like wanted to say transform, but then was like, but it's doing it in like a phase. Phase is also a word that gets used a little bit loosey-goosey.
I mean, we're talking about frequencies. So.
And they go to different dimensions. We even know now that some of our synapses of our thoughts in our brain phase out of this dimension and they go somewhere else, and then they come back again.
What you're talking? That is not a thing that is taught in quantum mechanics class or in neuroscience class. I think maybe he's like once heard Roger Penrose like speculate about some weird ideas that Roger Penrose has about quantum mechanics and its connection to consciousness because of how neurons work. Roger Penrose is a very bright guy, but when he starts getting on that particular like train of thought, most people don't take him that seriously because it's weird and doesn't really make much sense.
I've tried to understand him on some of that.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, I looked it up and it said transphase is a moisturizer, but like you guys kept talking, and I'm like, all right, something's going on with my mind.
you got kicked off momentarily, and we just sort of kept going.
No, it was before that when you were asking if transphase was a word. I'm like, it's a company that makes moisturizers and other such nonsense. I say nonsense. Moisturize. That's sound advice. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And this has all been tracked and traced through the understanding of quantum mechanics and quantum physics and understanding that dimensions exist. The biggest way that we made a model of this is we figured out how to create something called quasi-crystals. Now, these quasi-crystals are these multi-dimensional crystals. We actually created
all crystals are multidimensional crystals, I suppose.
I've never heard of quasi-crystals. I've never heard of that.
Quasi-crystals are a crystal is a repeating like structure of particles. So like salt is a classic example. You've got sodium and then chlorine, and they go back and they do it in a particular pattern, sort of like a checkerboard would be one simple example in 2 dimensions. And they repeat ideally, like true ideal crystals repeat forever constantly, and they have exactly. So if you know what it looks like here, and you know that it continues to go in that direction, then you can be like, okay, I know exactly that there is going to be an atom at this particular spot, even if it's miles away. If you had a pure crystal that long. We don't have pure crystals that long. We do have objects that we can make that are of such pure, high quality silicon that from here all the way over to over here, it is a single perfect crystal. There are essentially no defects, and all of those silicon atoms are exactly lined up because a lot of money has been spent on getting silicon to behave the way we want. And it's really useful for things because it ends up being very, very, very stable. A quasi-crystal kind of looks crystalline, but the basic thing doesn't actually repeat. It kind of looks like it repeats, but it doesn't. It sort of is changing. Locally, it kind of looks periodic, but it doesn't actually have long-range order in the same way.
Is that similar to those artistic? What's the name of those patterns that
like Penrose tiles is
that don't repeat, but they look like they do. Okay.
So I think it's called a Penrose tile, and this is one of the things that Penrose So this is an aperiodic tiling. This pattern here kind of looks like a crystal, but it's not. It's not a single thing that is just being repeated. It kind of looks a little bit like that, and it has some properties that are sort of like that, but it's not actually what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Fractals. That's the word I was thinking of.
yeah.
Thank you.
I can't believe
Cuneiform
you didn't
guy.
think about that. Vandy loves talking about fractals.
Yeah. And so it even says here, they are quasi-crystals.
Ah,
So, and this is Roger Penrose, who won the
tessellations.
Nobel Prize a few years back because,
Yeah.
let me,
Y'all got the words. Tessellations, fractals, Penrose. Yep.
yeah.
Okay. So that's all similar. Okay, cool. It's just a but it's
When he
interesting
said
one.
that higher dimensional crystals, that higher dimensional bit didn't like really add anything. Like that was just words that he like put on as fluff to what he was saying.
Oh, is he going to make these quasi crystals vibrate at frequencies? Is that what is that why he's talking about it?
Probably. And there's a lot of like frequency stuff that goes on with crystal structure, condensed matter physics and solid state physics.
If it's quasi crystals, it's not gonna resonate like. Okay. Anyway,
You're right. It's going to have
got to be periodic. It's got to be actually periodic for it
to have particular types of long range order. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Thank you for answering my question.
Eighth-dimensional quasi-crystal. We created in a laboratory using different technologies, and then from that eighth-dimensional quasi-crystal, it casts a shadow of itself down to a fourth-dimensional quasi-crystal, which then casts down a shadow which creates a sphere. So
I literally don't. I don't even know what he's talking. There's probably some other researcher that's out there being like, no, you're bastardizing what I'm talking about. When I said eighth-dimensional quasi-crystal, I didn't mean whatever the hell you think. But I don't know enough to be able to connect those dots. I don't know what he's referring to when he says eighth-dimensional. He could be talking about the dimensionality of like the band structure of the crystal or something, but I don't know what this shadowing effect that he's describing is.
But he's obviously right because he sounds very confident about it.
Could he be talking about nothing?
It doesn't make any sense to me, but
it's possible.
It does look like X-ray crystallography.
That's so. What
down to
what's
a fourth dimensional quasi
is a sort of cartoon that they're launching particles. You could do this. It's done. It was sort of canonically done with X-rays, so particles of light in that case. But you can also do it with electrons and stuff like that. And you have to shoot them fast so that they behave, and then they have a particular frequency that interacts and will resonate, and you'll get interference effects, and that's what's happening when it goes through here. So because this wave is going through this periodic structure, and as the wave goes through, it bounces off of all of the little atoms, and each time it scatters off that, like you get an outgoing wave or ripples from that, and then those ripples all interfere with each other in a way so that like at this particular spot they are constructively interfered, whereas over here, they destructively interfered. So you didn't get the particles when they came out of the crystal, none of them went here, but a lot of them went here.
Yeah.
And it's crystallography, diffraction, all sorts of things going on. But he said the shadow of the eighth dimension, I don't know what that means really.
Shadow of a height dimension?
Yeah.
And cast down a shadow which creates a sphere. So we know that the universe is most likely the shadow of a higher dimension.
I don't know what that
means. We're living in a light matrix, which is actually a light matrix. Which
we're living in a light matrix, obviously.
Our universe is just a shadow of a higher dimension, is that what he said?
Yeah. We're living in but the shadow is light. It's not, how normal shadows, it made a shadow. Our shadow is light.
I don't know what it means that we're living in a light matrix. A
light matrix, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Shadow of a much higher dimension. And so we know this because they created these crystals, these quasi-crystals, and when they put them at different angles, they cast shadows. Sometimes
what do these crystals look like?
They look like
this is like the shape that Wolfram uses for Mathematica.
Have you ever seen Adinkra codes?
I think I've heard you talk about this before. No,
they look like Adinkra symbols, mathematical symbols, but in the third dimensional time space. And so if you take them and pull them out into a third dimensional time space, they look like these lines that are connected with these nodes like that. fractals.
This is a quasi crystal.
Yeah, it's an ordered structure, but it's not periodic. If you put eighth dimension,
Hey, he got to saying something that was technically true.
quasi crystal, it's a fractal.
He said it's not periodic, but it is ordered, which is yeah.
Oh, sure. I'm not. Is it ordered?
It is ordered.
It's a fractal.
But it's not. It has sort of a self-similar, and yeah, it is. It's got some fractal behavior, but it's not periodic. It doesn't constantly repeat itself, but it does sort of do things like that.
Okay.
It's all about fractal. We live in a fractal holographic universe. The quasi crystal is a fundamental basis of the fractal holography.
Hey, can you explain to us how we live in a fractal holographic universe, Doctor?
No.
But you spent all those years in physics school learning about the fractal holographic universe. So
No, I didn't. I didn't. I was there.
But I don't feel like you got your money's worth.
Where's my bleach?
We're living in. We're fully immersed in it, so we can't detect it. But we're living in a light matrix, and that's what the Adinkra codes also prove. Professor James Gates Jr., University of Maryland.
It proves it.
Light matrix.
I don't know what the light matrix is. I don't know what he means by that.
Oh, God.
I'm just seeing little green. I'm just seeing little green, computer code flying down the street.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's all I can think.
When this guy popped up, I was like, Morpheus? Oh, you're frozen, Maya.
Advisor to President Obama. He put together a team of the most incredible supersymmetry and theoretical physicists in the world, like the top brains in the world on this. And they started analyzing what is the ether of space-time. What is this soup that we're living in, that we're inhabiting, this universe? What is it? What is it made of? What's powering it? They discovered something called Adinkra codes, which go back to the ancient Dogon tribe from Mali, Africa.
I have no idea what any of this is. I don't.
Wait.
Yeah.
Put that back up. I gotta say that.
They discovered something called Adinkra codes,
the-
which go back to the ancient Dogon tribe from Mali, Africa. The original inhabitants of the land of Camden moved to.
Which thing did you want me to go back to?
I'm sorry. The what you just put up, Maya.
Oh, you were talking to Maya.
I'm sorry.
What are the chat messages?
The chat message, yes.
Oh, from Leo? Because
is that it? It's flying though. Okay. Anyway, it was really funny. Because it was
flying by.
the holographic, holofractal graphonomical universe.
Yeah. He's just putting the words out there.
Leo's a smart guy.
He is. He's saying lots of smart stuff tonight for sure, and that's one of them. Okay.
Mali later, they were thrown out, taken over at one point, but they still kept this ancient knowledge in Mali about these Adinkra codes, and they would draw these patterns. Well, he discovered that these patterns are actually mathematical codes, and these are not just any mathematical code. They're actually the codes that describe the ether of space-time itself.
Okay, so symbols from this particular culture, some of them, I guess, well, obviously they encode the mathematical, like, supersymmetric holographic homeomorphisms of space-time. Duh.
Mathematical code. They're
yeah, that's what it is. It's words out.
Actually the codes that describe the ether of space-time itself. They're error-correcting codes, the same exact codes that run our search engines and web browsers that we're using right now to look at the image. There's coding behind that screen that runs this, what we just did, and guess what? It's the same code that runs the universe.
Okay, I would not.
Mind blown.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean that if huge if true.
Yeah. I mean, we Billy just cracked the code to run the universe.
I don't think I wouldn't say the universe runs on like code.
Billy would. He just did. Were you paying attention?
No, not generally. Not to Billy. Not much. Yeah. Sorry.
So we discovered that we're living in a programmed light matrix. These are depicting the nature of reality. and they actually are mathematical programming codes. They're a special type of code, though. They're error correcting codes. The same type that Google browser is running on is the same thing that runs the universe.
Can you give any example of what the hell you're talking about? Like, what is? Can you make this concrete?
You're asking for evidence.
Yeah, I'm a scientist.
Billy's not.
Why does he do this?
He's what we call in the biz a goddamn grifter.
It's all the grift, isn't it?
Yeah. So, or AKA for money, to answer your question more specifically.
Yeah.
What does this tell us, and where do we take this? Like, what is obviously this is like foundational knowledge for us, but like, where do you see it going?
Well, if you understand that we're living in a fractal holographic light matrix, it doesn't mean we're not real, but it tells us, wow, this is the method.
You gotta do that again.
Well, you just proved we're not real. Is that on the bingo card? Did anybody have we're not real for bingo?
Did he say a fractal? We got to say it again. I can't even remember what he said.
Obviously, this is foundational knowledge for us, but like, where do you see it going?
Well, if you understand that we're living in a fractal holographic light matrix.
Yeah, there we go. Fractal holographic light
matrix. I love it.
Holly, I think you're gonna have to have a new name, girl. Although free for shirt is really good, so I don't know. Okay, sorry.
It doesn't mean we're not real. But
by the way, they finally cottoned onto it and just started putting the Matrix motif just on the screen.
Again.
Yeah.
It tells us, wow, this is the method of the creation. Now we're getting closer to understanding what we really are. We understand now that consciousness isn't made inside this avatar body, that the avatar body doesn't even exist.
What is the avatar body?
And the funny thing is, he's not even making that up, but since it's not a real thing, it's hard for me to describe what the fuck he means by it.
yeah, that you see my pain.
I mean, I get it, but I don't know how to explain it.
This is a stream of something, coming from somewhere else, and it's being picked up in this matrix with this coding. If you took all the humans on Earth, there's 8 billion humans on Earth. If I took all 8 billion humans and removed the empty space between their atoms, I can fit every human into a sugar cube. One sugar cube can hold all 8 billion.
What? You can see. Is this true?
Well, I mean, the idea, the premise is one that I dispute. I don't think it's fair to call it empty space. If you were to, if you're going to go ahead and use that sort of metaphor and assign protons and neutrons and electrons classical like radii and squeeze everybody into that, like, yeah, it's probably along that size. Because then that would be basically if you squished all humans down so they were as dense as the nucleus of an atom, how big would the result be? It'd probably be about that size.
Okay.
But
I don't think that's what he said, though.
No, he said if you remove all the empty space, and I don't like. Yeah. I don't like the sort of implication that it's empty space. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, because it's not.
It's more complicated than that. Yeah.
Sure.
It's a wave function.
Exactly, it's a wave function.
The atoms are empty space. If you take the empty space out, you collapse it into one sugar cube. All 8 billion can fit in one sugar cube. So what does that mean?
Wild.
What's here? There's only one consciousness, it seems. And it's like a radio station that's transmitting out a frequency from a higher dimension. Our avatar bodies pick up that frequency. You're 99.1, I'm 99.2, he's 99.
Our avatar bodies pick up that frequency. Okay.
Maybe it's like the frequency.
So if you remove all of the empty space, our avatar bodies.
I think he was like, we are mostly space, and so that the we're mostly consciousness because our physical bodies are empty space, and it's our physical bodies that are tuning into the frequencies.
That would be a Billy thing to say.
Yeah. I don't know what we're turning into. I suppose like this mysterious...
No, it's a light. Your avatar body, it's a light body.
But he's comparing it to being a radio receiver, which doesn't do the actual work. It's just propagating whatever it gets. So are we just all being controlled? Is that where he's going?
He hasn't really fleshed it out.
Yeah.
All right, then.
9.3, but it's still coming from the same source. And so we're all coming from the same source. It's like the universe has found a way to live subjectively through multiple entities, but not even through entities, even through objects that we consider to be man-made, because every atom we know now in quantum physics is also conscious.
What? Okay, what? That's
every
not a
atom
thing.
is conscious?
Does
he know what conscious means?
I mean, I don't really know what conscious means, like, properly, but I know it doesn't mean that.
I mean, in and of itself, it's a difficult concept, but I mean, you would need more than an atom to achieve it.
I would think, but what about vibes, though?
Oh, you know what? I do hear often that vibes contribute to consciousness. So, is the atom like riding on a wave of vibes? I don't know. Oh,
okay. You're talking about pilot wave theory, I see. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like he just said that the universe basically is just finding all these different ways to express itself through the frequencies of the matter, and and so we're not really us. We're just this part of this particular part of the universe that's expressing itself through us.
Yeah, I
mean, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Imagine you're reading a story, but instead of it being printed on the pages of a book, it exists in a space you can't see or touch. This is a bit like the concept of a multidimensional universe that Billy Carson speaks about.
Is it?
In our daily lives, we're used to dealing with 3 dimensions, moving forwards and backwards, left and right, up and...
I do appreciate the right-hand rule here.
And down. But what if I told you that there are more dimensions out there, ones that we can't see or feel? This idea comes from a field in physics called string theory.
The question is, can you feel spatial dimensions? Like, can you feel directly?
I can feel down. I can feel gravity.
You could sort of, I suppose, see it, but even then, I would kind of nitpick and be like, yeah, but what do you mean by that?
Think of it like a guitar. When a string vibrates, it makes a sound. In string theory, everything in our universe is made up of tiny, vibrating strings, and each vibration makes up the things we see around us, like stars, trees, and even ourselves. But for this theory to make sense, scientists believe there need to...
That is not the worst, just hand-wavy, quick explanation of, like, the vibes behind string theory. I'm not a string theorist, so I don't know, but...
to be more than just our 3 dimensions. In fact, they think there could be up to 11 different dimensions. Now, why 11? It's not just a random number. In the world of physics, the math works out perfectly when you include these 11 dimensions.
I cannot give you an explanation as to why it's 11. Sometimes they say 10. I don't know if they're treating time differently or if there's actually models where you're able to get rid of one of them. But I can't even begin to give you a reason as to why it's not 8 or 15. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't string theory. I've heard that up to 11 were needed to do some calculations, and I just roll with it.
I mean, it's just like, why is a constant the constant that it? I mean, like, why is it that number? It's just a constant of string theory.
These extra dimensions aren't something we can touch or see, but they could be hiding in plain sight, folded into the universe in ways that are too small for us to notice.
That doesn't feel like hiding in plain sight, honestly. That feels like the opposite of hiding in plain sight.
It's like if you were a character in a book. You might think your world is just the page you're on, but there are so many more pages and chapters that you're not aware of. This idea changes the way we think about everything around us. It's like discovering that there's a whole new world hidden within our own, full of mysteries and wonders waiting to be explored. Dimensions and how they fit together.
Oh boy.
Let's try to understand how these dimensions are connected to each other. Carson uses the idea of dimensions being at right angles to each other.
What? Are you okay?
I'm trying to.
He broke Mandy. He broke Weasel.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's worth trying to explain.
It's the way he said it. It's like at
Yeah.
90-degree angles to each other rather than the last one, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, dimensions are like it's about how many coordinates you need to specify a thing. It's a very general idea.
Sorry, real quick. Lucy Hayes just rated, so I do want to. I don't think I actually properly thanked Ember. So Ember, if you're still here, thank you. Lucy, welcome. I'm glad you're here today. We're talking about
the holographic fractal light matrix. The fractal holographic light. Yeah.
So we're going through Billy Carson's recent bullshit, and he is using string theory to explain how different dimensions are real, but not string theory dimensions, woo dimensions. And we're kind of we're trying to unpack that, but he gets a lot of concepts like just straight out of his ass. So it gets a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Why
are you like this, Billy?
World with only 2 dimensions, like a piece of paper, you have length and width. Now add depth, and you've stepped into the 3-dimensional world where we live. But what about a 4th dimension? How does that fit in? Thinking about another dimension beyond our 3 is tricky because
that's true.
It's not something we can see or experience. But let's use our imaginations. Imagine time as a sort of 4th dimension.
Time is a 4th dimension. It's you need to have a 4th number to like describe stuff.
But he doesn't like time as a dimension, so it's not.
Yeah.
We move through time just like we move through space, experiencing each moment one after the other.
We don't move it through it just like we move through space. We move through it only in one direction.
Wow, I'm really bad at math and physics, and I explained it way better than he did just now.
Yeah.
Carson also talks about dimensions being compactified. This is a fancy way of saying they're folded up so small that we can't see them. Picture a very thin wire. From a distance, it looks like a simple line, one-dimensional. But if you look closer, you can see it has length. And if you could look even closer, you'd see it has thickness and even a tiny bit of width.
So that is the example that is typically like used to explain what compactification is. They got that from like physics books. So that's like a valid thing. To what extent that's helpful in like really grokking or understanding fundamentally what it means to compactify a dimension, your mileage may vary. I find it to be
compactified is a word.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I thought it was a Billy word.
No, it's not. It's a real one. It's one of the exactly. That's the struggle. Things get weird.
In physics, it's not something that if you weren't using physics that you use often, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you might talk about like garbage getting compactified or something, but you should say compacted instead of compactified. A physicist probably decided that it was cooler if you added an extra I in there.
So it does mean the same as does it? It means the same as compacted. Yes.
Yeah, I don't immediately see
like the sugar cube, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the idea of like a from very 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 far away, a wire just looks like a line. It doesn't look like it has any breadth to it.
True. Yeah.
But then if you get closer to it and you sort of zoom in, then the structure begins to emerge. And so from far away, or from a very perspective of something very large, it doesn't have multiple dimensions. But then when you zoom in, there are multiple dimensions there. That is how compactification is described.
Okay.
I think it's fundamentally difficult to understand like what that really means in terms of like string theory. Like, okay, cool. It's not great. Exactly. It's like the rubber sheet analogy. It's not great. It is kind of the best that we have.
Okay. Well, I've learned a new word.
The extra dimensions in
maybe
string
don't
theory.
use that with like if you're not talking physics with physicists, because I pretty sure it's going to sound like nails on a chalkboard to most people, and they're not going to let you get past the word.
Yeah, like evidences.
The
word.
I really hate that word. And Dapper assures us that, it used to be a word that was in common parlance like 100 years ago, but that was then. And like right now, I only hear science deniers using it. So I reject it. Generally reject it.
I reject it, and I reject the sheeps.
Well, I mean, I usually reject the person's stance when I hear evidences, and I'm like, oh God, like high alert, red flag. Must dive deeper, because right now we only have science deniers using it.
They're like this, but even smaller, so small that we don't notice them in our daily lives. These hidden dimensions could be all around us, filled with things we can't even begin to imagine. It's like if you lived in a two-dimensional world and suddenly discovered there's a whole three-dimensional world above, below, and all around you. This idea opens up a universe of possibilities, where countless different realities might exist right next to ours, just out of sight.
It does it? Because that's not what we're doing. We're not just making up new realities. The thing about string theory is it's trying to explain the reality around us in a more complete way. That's the point of models in physics. We're not hypothesizing parallel realities. Like, that's not the point. The point is to explain this reality.
The concept of time in higher dimensions.
Oh boy.
Imagine time as a river, flowing from the past to the future.
Does it have AI wolves in it? Because it's not a true river if there are no AI wolves.
It's gotta be, gotta have the wolves.
Yeah.
Future. This is how we usually understand time, but what if time was more like an ocean, where past, present, and future exist all at once? Billy Carson introduces us to this fascinating concept, suggesting that in higher dimensions, time doesn't work the way we think it does. In our three-dimensional world, we experience time linearly. One thing happens after another. But in higher dimensions, time could be experienced differently.
This is such a... There's no substance to what they're saying. What do they mean by higher dimensions? That's such a vague term.
But with the string theory, though, is that like it's folding back on itself, and so this time can be at this time, and that can be at that time, and they're close to each other, so that it's close enough to be the same time?
I think so. I think basically the idea is that just like you can describe, you need three numbers in our everyday reality to describe where something is.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine somehow, very difficult, probably impossible to actually imagine it, but imagine that you needed two numbers to describe when something is. What does that mean? Mathematically, that's kind of like, that's how you add in a second dimension of time, is you require you have a system and you have, this extra number and it parameterizes something different about reality. But what does it actually mean intuitively? it beats me, but that would be having two dimensions of time, and one of them would sort of be orthogonal to the other one, whatever that means. It's very... They're talking about ideas that they have no understanding of the actual like fundamental ideas that they're blathering about. I don't really understand those ideas, but I understand them a lot better than him. And they have no appreciation for the actual like mathematical...
They don't know what they're talking about. They're just saying the words.
No
Yeah, they just like...
Billy has never done the math. I mean, I would put money on that.
It's a bit like watching a parade from the street versus watching it from a tall building. From the street, you see the parade one float at a time as it passes by, but from the building, you can see the entire parade all at once. Carson talks about beings from a fifth dimension who might see our three-dimensional world in a way we can't imagine. For them, looking at us might be looking at a book where they can see every page at the same time. They could see us in multiple places.
Who's the they? Who's the they?
The
fifth dimensional
the 11-dimensional beings?
No, he just said it was fifth dimensional beings.
Fifth dimension.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Those are real.
Our past, present, and future simultaneously. This idea challenges our usual understanding of time and suggests a universe where time is far more complex and multidimensional than our everyday experience.
What?
Interactions between different dimensions. Now, how do these different dimensions interact with each other?
That is a very good question. And it's one that, like, in general relativity, space and time do interact with each other. They are part of this, dynamic thing. It has properties. It behaves dynamically in ways that you can describe mathematically. That was a very sort of groundbreaking shift in the fundamental paradigm of what space and time are. Because before that, the idea of like this direction interacting with this direction, what does that mean? I mean, it's kind of hard to think about exactly what that means, even in general relativity, because it's hard. Relativity is hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Carson suggests that to see or interact with a higher dimension, one needs to match its frequency.
I don't know.
This is like tuning into a radio station.
No, it's not. It's
Just
not
as you
like
need to
that.
be on the right frequency to hear a particular radio station, beings in one dimension need to tune into the frequency of another to interact with it. In our everyday life, this is hard to grasp because everything we touch and...
God, he's conflating dimensions.
Yeah, it's one of the most conflated words. Not about its frequency.
It's like actually, like there's, I think most people do understand there's there's spatial dimensions, and then there's the concept of alternate dimensions. And I think he's conflating spatial dimensions with an alternate dimension, but also an alternate dimension with an alternate universe, which would ostensibly be in our dimension.
Yeah. The alternate dimension is like a science fiction term. It is not used in physics. Physicists do not talk about alternate dimensions. They talk about
and that's
additional.
What I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And it gets conflated because there's a completely other idea of what dimension can mean in physics as well, and that has more to do with like units. So like mass is a dimension when you're talking about dimensional analysis with units. That's an entirely different thing. It hasn't really come up, so there's not really much point in bringing it up here.
No, I mean, I know, but it's just like he keeps saying dimension, and I'm like, wait, that he's using that term differently than he did the last time he used the word.
Sometimes at the beginning of the same sentence. It's annoying. Like again, a lot of these concepts,
this video I wouldn't have done on my own because I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But like, when again,
we
like,
know what he's talking
about. Vandy's been able to break down the concepts, I think, pretty well. From like I think he's done a good job of trying to still man the subject matter at least. But again, I have no formal training in physics. I'm horrible at math. I read like 2 books for idiots in physics, and like I'm picking up on this bullshit. Like it's just whatever.
Billy Carson is the type of person who reads those books and thinks that he knows enough to write one of those books.
I love it. Yeah.
The confidence. That's what I'm saying. Oh,
yeah. It's this.
The goddamn Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah, this delusional level of confidence in his understanding. Most people, when they read, one of these books about string theory, they understand, because it's pretty obvious that like this is a simplification, and you don't read a book on string theory and become a string theorist unless there's like maybe one guy on the planet that can do that, and that's Ed Witten, and he's literally the greatest string theorist of all time. But he's like a weird genius dude. So
C is in our 3-dimensional world, but what if we could tune into these other dimensions? Carson suggests that the paranormal could be explained by beings who have figured out how to do this, to match the frequencies of different dimensions. Think about atoms, which are mostly empty space. If we could somehow match the frequency of our atoms...
They do it constantly.
My God.
It's not just them, and this is again, I mean, I'm beating a dead horse. It is a common talking point. It is one that I have seen in textbooks even. It's just, I just think it's misleading.
To the frequency of a wall's atoms, we might be able to pass through it. This sounds like something out of a superhero movie, but in the realm of physics, it's a theoretical possibility.
It is not a possibility. Is it not a possibility? Every single atom in my body to have the same frequency?
Yeah, you'd have to, no, it's not. You can get individual particles to do weird things that seem impossible. That's what quantum tunneling is. But you're not going to quantum tunnel a person through a wall. Okay?
Right.
That's why we have crash test dummies.
So Leo says, so an invariance of frequency is how these dimensions interact. Is that a gauge invariance or what? It's so fucking vague.
It's so vague. I don't even know. He hasn't brought up the word gauge invariance. Well, thank God, because I am not equipped to talk about
I never heard of it.
Symmetries properly. It's a gauge theories are theories that have a symmetry, like they have a thing that you can kind of choose how you organize your model, and different choices lead to different mathematics that is easy and nice. Did that make any sense? No. I mean, I heard the words coming out of my mouth and I was like, that's useless.
I'm just thinking of defining things in different units to make it easier or something. But anyway, so that's what I was okay. But that's all right.
I've
been sitting here this whole session with like that woman with the math thing going. Right. That's how I've been feeling.
Like I told you, I was like, it's going to be a brain breaker.
Yeah, but it's so vague, and that's what's so infuriating about it. I agree with you. Answers in Atheism. I very much agree with you.
Consider solid and unmovable in our world could be more flexible and permeable than we ever imagined. Quantum physics and higher dimensions.
I can imagine an awful lot.
Quantum physics might sound like a complex and distant concept.
It is.
Yeah, it is complex. I don't know exactly what you mean by distant, but
it may seem difficult, due to the level of people not intuiting it and getting it wrong daily. But I don't, it feels like there's a but coming on, where he's going to oversimplify or just lie about something.
Did you see Jillian's name?
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Yeah, I even changed the stream title for you.
Beautiful.
Oh, I didn't see that. I must.
Oh, you can look at it later. Actually, I've been doing that lately. Whenever there's like a theme, I'm like, oh, that would make a great stream title. But you never know what's going to make a great stream title sometimes until you get into the stream.
Okay, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Think of it as the rule book for how things work on a really, really small scale, much smaller than anything we can see. In Carson's discussion, this microscopic world reveals the existence of higher dimensions.
What the hell is this? What are we looking at?
I was wondering that too.
It's
and I'm
vibrations.
Like, what it reminds me of? When was it? I think Doctor Strange, when he went into the world with Dormammu. I know it. Yeah. And like you could see the eye opening behind him, and I know it didn't look visually like this, but like I don't know, like the way it hit the screen, I was just like.
I mean, I'm thinking frequencies and stuff, so to me it looks like a string, that is actually vibrating, and it's got a string inside of a string. It's the dimensions. We're actually seeing them vibrating.
It's AI slop. So who knows what the fuck it is?
It's a vagina.
I like her so much.
Oh my gosh, cuneiform guy, man.
Oh, I didn't even see this.
Yeah.
I mean, what answer? It's just as good as any other answer.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If it was red, I would say it's the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, all good answers.
In quantum physics, particles do some pretty wild things. They can be in more than one place at the same time, and they can pop in and out of existence without warning. Now imagine particles as tiny messengers traveling between dimensions. When quantum physicists observe these particles, they sometimes find them behaving in ways that don't make sense in our three-dimensional world. This is because these particles could be influenced by forces or laws from these higher dimensions, just like a puppeteer's.
I don't really. I would want an example of what he means by that, because in what way are particles influenced by things happening in higher dimension? That's not intrinsically like a stupid Billy Carson thing to say, but I would want an example for it to have any meat.
Strings can control.
Oh,
sorry.
Real quick. Well, Leo says particles cannot be in multiple places at once. I think that's.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. I think that's an okay. I think that that's not a terrible way of describing what superposition is. It's not a great way. But
yeah, I know. I don't know. I've heard a lot of physicists disagree with you on that.
It's.
I think, and just trying to understand what superpositions are. A lot of people will push back on it, but I think it's because other physicists will say it to people thinking, well, this is the best way to think about it. And then people, of course, fuck it up. And then you get other physicists coming in after the fact, just like, no, that's not what it is. Yeah. So I think that's just from trying to understand what it is, from listening to a bunch of different people talk me through what I'm trying to read, because again, I think you just have to be able to do the math, and I can't. So like, I'm trying to conceptualize it differently, but I think that's kind of how you get. I think that you can both be right.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I would like it's. You have a wave function. Technically, you only have like the universe's wave function. Like we sure. talk about a single particle having a wave function, and that's a very useful concept. Technically, that's already fundamentally an oversimplification. But you have a wave function for a particle, and that wave function has non-zero amplitude at different locations in space. That is, I don't personally have a huge problem with describing that as that particle being in two places at once. But more precisely, the wave function is the wave function. There's just the wave function. It doesn't. A particle doesn't have multiple wave functions. So yeah.
All right. So for $5, Jester says, you may think it's difficult to understand this, but if I say enough words in order with enough confidence, we can both pretend we're smart. Jester gave you $5, so that means that he is the smartest guy and has the biggest dick. What if you
Smart SMRT?
Oh, beautiful.
A puppet's movements from above, these higher dimensions could be influencing the particles we see in our world. This idea shakes the very foundations of what we understand about our universe. It suggests that the universe is like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and quantum physics is showing us pieces from parts of the puzzle that we didn't even know existed. It's as if we're getting a sneak peek into a hidden...
What are you talking about?
We're being controlled. That's the whole point. We're being controlled by these higher dimension, fifth dimension people thingies or whatever they are.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what he's saying?
Well, I don't know if he's saying that we're being controlled, but like they're interacting with
influenced.
us.
Yeah. Okay.
In realm, opening doors to new worlds that operate under completely different rules than our own. The human brain, quantum mechanics, and dimensional phasing.
Oh boy.
The human brain is an amazing organ, but imagine if it had abilities beyond what we know. Carson suggests that our brain synapses, the tiny gaps between neurons where signals pass through.
I love how the second half of this video is just literally just re-saying everything that Billy said.
Yep. Yeah, well, he's using Billy's Nikola Tesla in this video, which is hilarious when I say it out loud. But yeah, he's using Billy for clout. It's the whole thing. It's like, well, Billy said this, therefore my theory is right.
It is wild to me that people consider this guy an authority.
This isn't the first video we've done featuring Billy that's done that either.
Yeah, no,
and there's a lot. Yeah.
I blame who do I blame? Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And Billy.
Might actually be tapping into these higher dimensions. Think of your brain as a radio, not just picking up signals from our world, but also tuning into frequencies from these other dimensions.
Oh, we're back to frequencies.
Yeah.
That your frequencies go through the mind, and then I wonder, are they going to get to the secret in this?
Probably. Yeah.
Unlike science fiction, but in the world of quantum mechanics, it's a possibility that scientists are beginning to explore. There's evidence to suggest that these synapses are involved in processes that defy conventional physics, like being affected by quantum entanglement.
Okay, but see, the thing is that your neurons are small, but they're not quantum level, right? It's still not small.
Yeah, and I was gonna. Kip wants me to talk about brains, but like you're the physics major that teaches biology. I feel like you're better prepared to explain how that's not a thing.
I mean, we can't even. Okay, so from what I understand, and one of my good friends is a quantum computing professor in Germany, and I can't remember what I was going to say. What am I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's hard enough to describe one particle on a quantum level, right? And what is that one particle doing? For example, I spent an entire semester studying a particle in a box. That was a class called thermal statistics, which I really wish I don't ever want to. Anyway, so, but the fact that, I mean, the neuron is not just one particle, right? And the synapses and the chemicals that are making it up, it's like, okay, let's just do the wave function for every single atom or every single particle in every single atom in every single molecule of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. So
it very rapidly becomes totally intractable to do any calculations from first principles.
You can't compactify it.
Like we can explain a lot about the hydrogen atom, like a lot, because it's simple enough that we can or the math works out, and you can get a lot of nice like things that make sense, and the math works. You can actually get an answer. You add a couple more particles, and now you have a helium atom, and you can still do some stuff. I mean, by the time you get to lithium, it's just, you don't have a model that you have to do things, you have to shift your sort of paradigm. There's a reason we don't use fundamental, like a standard model of particle physics. There's a reason we don't use that in chemistry class. It's not the right tool.
Right. Right, because chemistry in class would be macro level compared to.
Still, there's a lot of quantum mechanics going on in chemistry.
Right, and there's
relevant.
quantum chemistry. Yes.
True. And there's quantum chemistry and physical chemistry, and they're all overlapping. But the neurons are also they're in a very dense environment. Like, I work with atoms that are in the middle of a vacuum chamber, like levitating, and not interacting with anything else. It's a very idealized system. A neuron is in your brain. It's hot. Okay, so everything is moving and vibrating in a way that, like, if you did have a coherent quantum state, it's immediately going to get like destroyed, and you're going to lose your coherence. That is, I think, the general like idea. Is it impossible that there might be something that could be emergent where you still have coherence? I suppose. I'm not aware of any particular phenomenon that demonstrate that in brains. So
yeah. Maya, put up the left-handed Jedi particle man. Particle man. Does whatever particle can. Do you know this? They Might Be Giants. It's one of my favorite songs. Do you know this song? It's awesome.
Spider-Man song, right?
They might be giants.
I've heard them.
Yeah.
I don't know the song off the top of my head.
It's particle man, doing things a particle can. What's he like? It's not important. Particle man. Anyway, it's funny.
Well, I do know that was one of the original I believe it was one of the original Spider-Man songs, but it also was in the Simpsons movie for Spider-Pig.
Okay.
Was it Simpsons or was? Yeah. Okay. I can't remember. Anyway.
Sorry.
Phenomenon where particles remain connected so that actions performed on one affect the other, no matter the distance between them. Carson's idea here is that our thoughts might sometimes phase in and out of these higher dimensions.
Wait. Say that again. Was he talking about neurons?
He's talking about he's misunderstanding entanglement.
A phenomenon where particles remain connected so that actions performed on one affect the other.
That's a very simplistic way of describing it. That I would argue is wrong. It doesn't actually affect the other particle. It can sort of seem like that, but information is not transferred. It is impossible to send a message using entanglement. But the thing is, when you look at examples of entanglement, it really sort of seems like you'd be able to send a message, but it's sort of an illusion. You can't actually. You can know about what a measurement of the other particle would do, but you cannot control what it's going to do.
Okay. Yeah. I heard Hank Green try to explain this with the socks. Yeah. Like
like a pair of socks, one's a left, whatever, one's a left sock, one's a right sock. We're talking, is that what we're talking about? We're talking about like up and down spin, right?
Yeah.
If you know one, you don't, you know the other, but it's not that it controls it. It's just because you measured one, so it's got to be the other, or
yes.
Okay.
Yes, but you can't choose which one you're going to measure. If you could choose, like, okay, right now this is like the thing that I have. I don't know what it is. I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to get this answer. You can't do that. In principle, you can't do that. If you could do that, then you're actually then it actually isn't in a quantum superposition. That like those two things are mutually incompatible.
Mm.
And the sock analogy, it gets the sort of predictive aspect. It fails because it really seems, because then you think about like hidden variables, and entanglement has a lot of subtleties going on that are, you have to think about them very precisely.
I wish I could even. I'm sorry. I can't help but read the chat. I'm very. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just. Yeah, you know that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So.
Yeah.
We can go on. They might be giants. Okay. Sorry.
No matter the distance between them. Carson's idea here is that our thoughts might sometimes phase in and out of these higher dimensions. It's like when you daydream and part of your mind wanders off to a different place. What if, in those moments, your mind is actually interacting with another dimension? This could explain moments of
Maya, you're muted.
You're muted.
No, I'm sorry. I was like, what if is doing a whole lot of fucking work right there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is a great hypothesis. Like, can we facts it all? At all? Like, at all? Wow. Okay.
I mean, that was literally a idea of what if when we daydream, we're actually just like space travel.
Oh, creating another dimension and where we're actually doing the thing? Why fucking not?
So in shamanism, when you go on a journey, that is the idea that you are actually going to a different place.
Yeah,
but it's all in your brain.
It's not kind of your shamanism. You're actually astral projecting to another plane. So they do believe like,
but you're not. You're not actually, but I'm just saying that's the idea is that you are right going to upper world or lower world or.
In shamanism, you're actually going to another plane. You're astral projecting there. So I mean, it's different than it's not they would reject that it's a day like akin to a daydream. Or a dream at all, like because you're actually leaving your body and going to this other plane. So, I mean, as far as the concept goes, I'm not saying this actually happens.
That is.
I'm saying it's different than what he's saying. That's all I'm saying. Try to straw man.
Extraordinary inspiration or creativity, as if we're tapping into a vast network of knowledge and experience that exists beyond our physical realm. The universe as a shadow of higher dimensions.
Oh boy.
Imagine if our entire universe was just a shadow cast by a much more complex reality existing in higher dimensions.
How do I imagine that? What is that like? What am I imagining? What is a shadow of a higher?
Well, you're the physicist, so you're supposed to tell us.
You're imagining a sphere above a piece of paper and the shadow casting on it as a whole universe.
Yeah, made from light, though. Yeah, because shadows aren't the thing that results from light being blocked.
Right. Because shadow is the light matrix.
Yeah. You haven't even paying attention. You know what? I think you know what your problem is.
Learn something.
That you're not taking notes.
Get out your whiteboard.
Oh boy. I mean, I'm broken. That's all I. Yeah.
This idea, as Carson suggests, is looking at the shadow of a tree and trying to imagine the tree itself. The shadow is a simpler two-dimensional version of something much more intricate. In this analogy,
Okay, that at least makes some sense. Is it like some? I don't know how it connects to whatever this is, but
Wait, it makes sense, but you don't know how it connects. What?
The idea that like a shadow of a tree is a three-dimensional object. Its shadow is a two-dimensional object, but information about the three-dimensional object is sort of encoded in the shadow. Like by looking at the shadow, you know some things about the shape of the tree.
Okay, sure.
Some things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what is casting the shadow? Like, because the thing about universes is that we're out of keys. Yeah, that tracks.
This is a new like a low. Yeah, we've never run out of keys before, so that's that happened.
Oh. Yeah,
universe is the shadow, and the higher dimensions are the tree. The concept of a light matrix comes into play here.
Does it?
Think of it as a vast network or web of light.
Maybe he's going to... maybe they're going to explain it finally, what the light matrix is.
Concept of a light matrix comes into play here. Think of it as a vast network or web of light, stretching out in all directions far beyond what we can see or understand. This light matrix represents the higher dimensions, and our universe is a projection or a shadow of this much more complex structure.
What?
No, that did not help.
It didn't do anything. That was absolutely unhelpful. I have no idea what the point of introducing this light matrix is. What is?
I don't know why I'm trying to understand it.
I think it's trying to explain to you how you're not really real.
How?
I know I'm just a shadow.
Yeah.
From the light matrix.
Yeah. You reside in the light matrix, or a shadow of what was casting the shadow? I don't know.
Well, I think the light matrix is casting the shadow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's saying that like that represents the higher dimensional things. Okay, and in what way does that representation get us anything? What have we gained from adopting this heuristic?
You've learned that you're not really real. Also, give him money.
You can give us money though.
You should. Giving us money is right and good.
Oh, and you're being influenced by things that you don't know about. You can't see.
Can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if we're living in a 3D movie projected from a realm that's far more advanced and multidimensional. This perspective shifts our understanding of reality. Instead of seeing our universe as the entirety of existence, we can start to view it as just one level or aspect of something much larger and more intricate. It suggests that what we experience as reality might just be a small slice of a much vaster, multidimensional cosmos.
Is the universe not big enough? I mean, come on. We can't even our little brains. We can't understand how big this universe.
Was it 3 months ago? There was a paper that came out that was talking about what the hell? How we might be living in a black hole.
Oh, I heard a little rumor about something like that. Like that our universe
is inside of
a black hole. Yeah, we're in a black hole.
Yeah, and so guys like whoever we're covering this week, like there were so many videos, but like I didn't have anybody that could talk about it at the time, and then I forgot until like right now. Vandy, do you remember? Did you hear anything about that? Like, because it was
I don't remember a specific like time in the last few months. That basic idea is
So
Not
I actually
on
did
its
go to
face,
Neil.
it's
Went to
super
Neil
stupid name.
deGrasse Tyson to like listen because he was talking about it on Star Talk, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see. So what happened? They were looking at, I think it was galaxies, and they were thinking that they should either spin the same like if you have a big bang, like I guess they should, like by chance, either 50-50 or all spinning in a certain direction or something he was saying. But what we see is 60% are spinning one way and you have 40% spinning the other way. And which is weird. And so now they're thinking that's not by accident. And it may be indicative of living in a black hole because of like when it feeds light from a
you get
star would come
rotation.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. So the trying to explain, because you wouldn't expect there to be an asymmetry in the rotation directions, and if there is one on large scales, then how do you explain that? If
that's what they're trying to explain.
If we're within, it's not. Is the universe in a black hole, or is it like our observable chunk is within the event horizon? Like, what does that mean? You can be inside a black hole and not be squished to death.
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, ostensibly, yeah.
Yeah. It like when you pass the event horizon of a black hole, generally, like locally, nothing really changes for you much. You won't even notice necessarily. Depending on how big the black hole is. But
and then they're saying, well, all the matter would have to go somewhere, and why wouldn't, depending on the physics, create another universe? I mean, we don't know. But
I'm still trying to. I gotta go look at that because I'm sitting here. I heard that, but now I'm thinking.
I'm sure I explained it insanely
Black
badly.
hole would mean we're getting more stuff in, but we're expanding. So how are we expanding in a black
That's a good question.
hole? I don't.
Well,
yeah, and then that was another question, though. Well, not from you, but I just wanted to finish up with Vandy. They're saying, is the observable? There's a question about whether or not the observable universe is everything, because inside of a black hole, like maybe this is all there is. So I don't know. I don't math. I don't know how much sense that makes. But I don't know. And I wish I had time to find that episode because I don't know. Neil deGrasse Tyson did explain it really well. Obviously, he's a science communicator. And I'm an idiot who's just trying to understand the world around me with concepts that I don't have any education or background to understand fully. But I think cosmology is fascinating. And I don't know, when stuff like this comes out, it intrigues me. But again, I wasn't expecting to talk about this today, so I didn't brush up on it. So I'm sorry if I'm explaining it badly.
You explain it better than I can.
I'm also not a cosmologist, so like there's so much physics there that like I sort of have passing familiarity with, but I don't like fully understand.
Yeah, I mean, and you haven't read the paper or looked at it at all, so I mean, it's
correct.
With you not being even an astrophysicist or anything like that. I know.
Even if I read the paper, like how much would I get out of it? I'm not sure.
So Dr. Kip thinks that you're an astrophysicist.
He does.
Dr. Kip doesn't know how to read or write, so.
Draw a map.
Yeah.
Okay, we love you, Dr. Kip. We love you.
Kip Davis has written no books. Kip Davis has written no books.
He did it again. You're an astrophysicist. Yeah,
Oh
he
my
does that.
God. But yeah, that was something they were going on and on about not too long ago, and I think I'll preserve the good doctor's brain because like he looks like he's fading. He's like,
Oh,
God, not
yeah.
again. I think we actually broke him last week.
Oh God, that was rough. Last week was rough. It was really rough.
Oh, this has really, yeah.
How are you holding up, Marion?
I'm okay. I don't have a headache, so that's
Okay. Way to go.
But I'm just
When-
like going, why? Yeah.
Yeah, the chat. I love the chat. So, all right, what's the breakdown? Who are you? Where are you? What do you have coming up this week?
I don't think I have anything else coming up this week, but next week I will have a live on Tuesday evening, probably 8:00, but we'll Eastern time. And I may try to get a video out this week, but yeah, I'm mostly just depending on the lives right now. So, but this was awesome. This was really fun. So I really
we're trying to help
appreciate
you grow your channel. Like, what
you.
will people find if they go over to your channel?
Well, I mentioned covering some of the Greco-Roman stories and comparing those to the New Testament, and then basically looking at the Bible in different ways. So that's the interpretations part, right? Is looking at so my first video with Dr. Kip Davis was I had always wanted to ask somebody who knew something about Hebrew about Phyllis Tribble's book, God and the Rhetoric of Sexuality. So we talked about the Genesis 2 story. So anyway, so I'm kind of focusing some with that. I probably asked Dr. Kip to come back again soon and talk more about some of these interpretations that he's talking about in his book, because I think they're really fun.
So you did one with him, was it last week or the week before, on Job?
Last week was with Job, about Job, yeah. And then the one before that with him was about what did we talk about? All the polytheism in the Hebrew Bible. So that was really fascinating because
that was I was fascinated by it. I was like, what, really?
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's what we're working on now. So yeah, that's So check me out. I'm hoping to get at least 500 subscribers by January. That's a goal. So y'all.
Oh my God. So yeah, Andrea was super cool. She put it in. So you're at 451. So yeah. I mean, it's totally doable.
Yeah, getting there. Yay.
I don't know. For us, it was a slow climb, but finally, after 2 years, hit 1,000. And then not this last week, but the week before, hit 1,300. So really excited about for
That's
all the
awesome.
new people, and
well, it's really fun. Yeah,
we're on the cult.
Yeah. Well, Kip, the Job stream was awesome. It was 2 hours, but it did not feel that way to me because it was just like, it was cool. We talked about theodicy and talked about Job, and I've never really understood that book. So anyway, it's kind of fun.
Vandy, do you have anything coming up?
I do not.
So yesterday, you guys, what did you guys cover yesterday?
Oh, that was fun.
That was crazy.
The AI Dead Sea Scrolls, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't know. Did you break Nitty? What was that about?
I think so. I guess it was. I mean, it was one of these videos where they repeat themselves so much before getting to they did eventually get to their terrible shitty point, but it was a struggle.
I was listening and did they ever make the point they claimed they were going to make?
Yeah, they did eventually. Their point was that AI analysis of the Dead Sea Scrolls had cool information, and they did eventually get to talking about what they were claiming was revealed, that you could understand about like people's mental state based on the change in their handwriting, making it seem like they were anxious or something like that, which that I think is pretty woolly. The idea that you can use AI to characterize patterns in handwriting, that is very, very true. It's one of the classical examples of how machine learning can be effective, actually, is looking at handwriting specifically. So.
Yeah, and this was wild when Kip made an appearance in the AI of the video.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah, he was like, "That's me."
And I was like, "No way!" And then it was him.
I did fall asleep before the end of it, though. I got to go watch the last hour of it. That one last night. I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, all right. So everybody, if you haven't seen that, go check it out on Dr. Kip's show. And then also check out Marion at Misinterpretations this week, Tuesday, right?
I won't be, not this Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
might start doing a weekly show, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. So
it's rough.
I haven't. I was at my job all day today, actually. So gotta
oh my
work,
God!
so.
All right, let's get you out of here because it's probably almost midnight for you. All right. Any last words before we leave?
Thank you so much. This was really fun. I hope to get to do it again sometime. It was really fun.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everyone, be true to who you are, not who you're told to be. Bye.